Hello and welcome back. This is Amanda from Hook'em Creations. In this episode of the Christmas stocking, I am currently working on blocking the Christmas stocking. This is a different way of doing it because you work on flat needles first or double pointed needles first, and then you make it into a stocking, and based on the instructions you then block it after you make the entire stocking. But this time around I decided, hey, let's try it a little differently. So I finished knitting all the color work and decided to block it. And because I am working with acrylic yarn, with acrylic yarn it's different than wool. Whereas with wool you want to wet block it, with acrylic you want to steam block it, or at least dry block it. And right now I am currently still looking for my iron that does steaming, and I have no idea where my husband put it. That's a problem. So I have decided, you know what, let's just let it dry block, and if I can't find it, then well, I'll just let it sit like this overnight and see how it comes out. So far it's coming out real nice, just letting it sit here dry block. This blocking board and pin set I got from Amazon. I believe it was around $20. It was a really cheap set. You can use sewing pins. You can also use your kit, like if you have little kids with play mats or something like that, you can use that, or any kind of piece of foam or board, and then you get your sewing pins and use that. But I'm gonna let this sit overnight, and I think it's gonna come out real nice in the morning. Even if it's not wet or we're not steaming it, I think it will come out real nice. So far it's coming out real nice. I did some dry blocking earlier with a couple swatches for other videos that's coming up, and so far so good on those. I only blocked those for like maybe an hour, and we'll see how it goes from there. Okay, it is the next day. I couldn't find my steamer, my iron that has the steaming setting on it, but I think even without the steam it turned out real nice. I did put a couple extra pins in before going to bed last night, and I will be taking this off later in the day when I start knitting back up again and showing you guys how to do the heel. But other than that, I think it turned out not bad. It looks really good, and it's nice and flat. It's all it's nice and flat. I don't see really any puckering going on. Maybe a little bit in the candlesticks, because because when you have the 3 stitches like this or less, where you're going back and forth for a while, it tends to pucker up quite a bit. Even it doesn't matter how loose your tension is or how tight it just always puckers up. It's just the way it's always been. I'm still trying to figure out how to fix that. And then the Christmas wreath down here, that section always tends to pucker up as well, and it's nice and flat, and I am happy with the results on that one. Like I mentioned in previous videos, the family told me not to add any sequins or ribbons or anything or any decorations or beads on it because they will do it themselves, which is perfectly fine with me. And if there was going to be beading and such, now would be the time for me to do it because everything is nice and flat. But all in all, I think this is looking good. We'll see how it goes when I take it off the board. Alright, so we already saw the blocking and of everything. Now we're back and we finished up the heel, we finished up the toe. Now we get to do the fun stuff, which is sewing everything back up. So I finished the Kitchener stitch here. I'm going to stick the needle right back into this hole because we're going to turn everything inside out and sew everything out. First things first is you're going to weave in the stitches here. We're going to start weaving in the ends real quick. I like to be overly, I like to make sure everything is stitched up and good to go. I don't like leaving, if it's going to come undone, I don't want it to be short. I like it nice and long. I like sewing things in long and lengthy because you never know what's going to happen. And I'd rather us have a longer tail than to cut it short and it coming undone. If you have a longer tail, then if it does come undone, it is long enough that you can sew it right back in. And that's my personal opinion. You guys can do what you want to do. It's really up to the artist at that point. It's nice and long, it's hidden, and there we go. So I didn't show this in the last video, but when you, if you get a tapestry needle, get one that has a bent tip, because it makes it nice and easy for you to pick up those stitches when you need it. So that's what I like, is having those tapestry needles that have the bent tip on them. I find them to work a little bit nicer than other tapestry needles. Not that they are bad, it just works better in my opinion. You can, especially if you are a crocheter and you do amigurumis like myself, the bent tip, always go for the bent tip needle. So basically what I'm doing is I'm just making sure everything is secure, and then I like to double knot because this is a Christmas stocking. This is not a sock for a person to wear. This is literally just for Christmas, for decoration purposes, and it's going to look beautiful. Like I've mentioned in past videos, I am not putting any sequins or ribbons or anything like that on the Christmas stocking, because the person who ordered it, the family member that ordered it, specifically asked me not to. And I am respecting her wishes. That's what she wants to do. I will let her do that. I'm perfectly fine with that. So all I'm doing here is, I'll bring it up a little closer so you can see. If the loop looks like it is, if it looks like it's a rainbow, you go up here. If it looks like an upside down rainbow, then you go down into it. And that's what I tell myself all the time is you go up and then you go down. And it's kind of like my invisible stitch. And like I said, every knitter is their own. I like to have a longer tail, so if it does come unraveled, one, it doesn't come unraveled completely. You have a longer tail to, and with a tapestry needle, you can sew it right back in. Let me zoom in real quickly here so you can see. Here we go. So, if you have the upside down rainbow, you're just going to go up. Or, yeah, if you have the rainbow, you go up. If you have the upside down rainbow, like this, then you go down. Like that. And that's all you do. Alright, in steps. So see why I left it very long. It makes it a lot easier. So, nice long tail always helps because it's useful for sewing everything up. So what I like to do is I like to sew back and forth. So try and line up all your stitches like so. And just keep going back and forth each stitch. Make sure you get into each hole, each stitch. So see the V's here. Here, we'll zoom right back up. There we go. So you see the little V's right here. You want your needle to go under that and go to the back. And just keep going back and forth like that. You go into the next stitch. Like that. Sandwich it up. And pull through. And then I go back with the needle to make sure everything is double secure. Again, I like to make sure everything is nice and secure because I do not want things to come undone. And it's better to be double or triple secure than to have it come undone. Alright, so I finally finished up the sewing. I didn't get all of it on video because my phone decided to die. Sorry about that, but I wanted to point out that the seam on the back looks amazing. See all the, this is why we decrease and why we stitch, like we sandwich up the 2 stitches, the 2 knits on the ends, and we sew through that way, so that way you get a nice clean seam like that. Look at that, it looks beautiful. Perfect, 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 perfect. And it lines up, the colors line up and everything. It looks great. It looks amazing. The toe looks amazing. You don't see any of the weaving of the little ends in on the sides or on the back of it. It looks great. Also, another thing that the pattern wrote is to make a braid or a cord that's about 9 inches long. This one I accidentally made about 10 inches, which I mean is totally fine. If you want it longer, that's great. If not, that's fine. The reason why I do it this way is one of 2 reasons. One, as a crafter, you don't know how the Christmas stocking is being hung up. I remember my husband's aunt sending me a picture of their Christmas stockings on how everything is hung up, and it was like a bar, and that way they could tie it up, and it sits on this rod that is removable from the in and out of the house, and instead of hooks. My husband made our little stocking board with little hooks, but theirs has this rod shelf, and they just tie it around that way, and it is pretty sturdy. I mean, it can hang there as long as you want. I've said this before multiple times, and I will say it again. I am not putting any sequins on this. I'm not putting any ribbons or anything like that. Traditionally, you do put sequins and bells and ribbons and all sorts of things on these Christmas stockings, but they specifically asked me not to because they will do it themselves, and I am totally fine with that because she's an amazing seamstress, and I know her personally. She's an amazing seamstress, so I will definitely hand the baton over to her to do all the pretty work. I did all the knitting, and she gets to do all the sewing, which works for me. But it is done. It's going to get packaged up tonight, and it's going to go in the mail first thing in the morning. And I am so excited, and now I get to relax for the rest of the night. Probably not. I have things to do, but I get to relax for a little bit, at least take a breather, maybe drink some wine. We'll see. But if you enjoyed this series, please let me know. Comment below. And if you want to keep following us, subscribe and ring the bell. Get notified of when our next video comes out. We have a new video almost every single Thursday. If you want to keep getting notifications of when that video comes out, subscribe and ring the bell. Also, if you want to contribute to these videos and say, hey, you're doing a great job, buy us some coffee. The link is in the description below. But until next time, happy crafting.